Hello everyone, welcome to my Game Maker Sonic tutorial series. And in this part we will be covering slopes, because let's face it, to keep things fast-paced, we really need them. A Sonic game without slopes is just not a Sonic game. So that's really all we're going to do in this part. And let's just start right now. By creating sprites. We can just use object solid as a reference. And here's sprite slope. Well, sprite R slope, so the right slope. Oh. And it will look somewhat like this. Just be sure that it goes 1 pixel up at a time. And the bottom left and the top right also have pixels here. Just be sure it looks like this. And then to make things a little fancier, we can do this. Not really necessary, but I like it this way. Now that's done. Let's just duplicate this and got sprite R slope. All we are going to do is mirror it. And now we also want slopes that are a little less steep, so I got them long slopes. So sprite R slope long. And they need to be twice as wide, but the same height. Like this. And then you will go 2 pixels to the right, 1 up, 2 to the right, up, 2 to the right, and just continue that. So this will make things a little clearer. And then just delete this. Alright. So again, I'm just going to do the fancy stuff, not really necessary. Like that. And again, we can just mirror this and say sprite L slope long and mirror it. If you are using Game Maker Studio, this box here, precise collision checking, won't be marked by default, but be sure to mark it for every slope sprite. So here, here, and here as well as this one. Just be sure to do that, else it will look kinda weird and they don't really function as slopes. So just check precise collision checking here. And in Game Maker 8 or 8.1 it's already checked by default. And now create objects for them. Well, first object slope parent. We will basically parent every slope object to this one, so we only have to check object slope parent and it will automatically check for all the slopes. So no sprite, and just like this. Now object R slope, yeah. As for the parent object slope parent, I just copy this for object L slope, object R slope long, and object L slope long. Alright, so now just place the slopes in the room. You don't need to place them exactly like this, it's just for testing purposes. Now we won't walk on walls and stuff, that's just too complicated for tutorial. But we will instead just stop at this wall like normal. So no 360 engine thing. That's just too complicated, sorry. So anyway, here in the step event of Object Sonic, we will at the very bottom add this code. Slope collision and collide slopes. This is script we will add right now. Just a little more easier to look at than just have a step event of 200 lines or something. Just create a script called collide slopes. Alright. Well, first of all, we want to go up slopes. So for that, we will check this. If place meeting x, y object slope parent. So if we are inside the slope and our vertical speed is greater or equal to 0, because when we are moving up we won't be affected by the slope, because else you can jump off and that's not so pretty. Anyway, y minus equals 1. And by the way, this if should be while, so it will be executed as long as this is happening. It will go back and do this again. And then ground equals true. Now we might also need to adjust something in Sonic step event. Yeah, right here. And not place, wait, here. Or place meeting x, y plus vertical speed plus 1 object slope parent. And then the ground equals true. And our gravity will be set to 0. So this is pretty much everything for walking up slopes. Now down slopes. It's a little trickier, but not too bad. Here, while place meeting x, y plus 16. This 16 will basically be the, how do you explain that? Well, the higher you set this, the more it will check at the bottom for slopes. I don't know how to explain as well, but basically when you are 16 pixels away from the top of the slope, 16 pixels above the top of the slope, you will be teleported to the slope. You can set this to a little lower, but you take the risk that it won't really that you won't walk down slopes properly. However, I think we can set this to as low as possible by using, oh, no, I meant create event, by using the max speed variable. So here check y plus max speed plus 1 object slope parent, and not place meeting x y plus 1 object slope parent. So if there is a slope a lot beneath us but not directly beneath us, and our vertical speed is greater or equal to 0, so again we can be jumping or moving up in general, y plus equals 1, ground equals true. Now let's see how this will work. As you can see, we can walk up slopes just fine, but down, yeah, I think this is fine. But we have the basics here, but it will not be everything we want. For example, let's just remove these walls here and add slopes, add floors I mean. You would expect Sonic to just go like this and then go on the floor. But that's not what's happening. Instead it will stop, because there's a solid on the left of us, and it will stop us. So that's not what we want at all. By the way, yeah, that's not what we want. So go to Object Solid, and in the Create event, have this. If sorry, if not place meeting x minus 1 y object slope parent, so if there's no slope on the left of the wall or the solid, or and there's no slope on the right of the solid, then can wall equals true. So it can function as a wall when there is not a slope on the right of it and not a slope on the left of it. Else can wall equals false. Now basically we only want Sonic to stop when the can wall variable of that certain solid we are colliding with is true. So we only want to let it function as a wall when it can function as a wall. That's basically what it says. So here let's say closest solid 1 equals place meeting equals instance place x plus abs global dot val plus 1 y object solid. Basically this. And here we can replace and closest solid 1 is greater or equal to 0. That basically says here we get the instance of the instance ID of the solid we are colliding with. And if there is no solid or wall we are colliding with, close solid 1 will be set to -1. So if we check if it is greater or equal to 0, we basically say that if there is a solid there. Now let's just copy this, say closest solid 2 equals instance place, then this. So here. And again we can replace this by and closest solid 2 is greater than or equal to 0. And because we have it stored in a variable now, we can also check if the can wall of that wall or solid is true. So here and closest solid one that can wall equals true. And here, no, I think this will give an error, so let's just do this. Closest solid 1 is greater than greater or equal to 0 and closest solid one that can wall equals true. Closest solid equals 0. Else, if closest solid 2 is greater or equal to 0 and closest solid 2 that can wall equals true, global.val equals 0. So this code basically says only stop at the wall when can wall of that wall equals true. At least that's what I think it does. So we should be able to move. Nope. Somehow it is still giving us an error. Isn't that lovely? Maybe this, I don't know. Nope. I don't get it. Here it clearly says Oh, I think I get it now. Where is it? Here. Just replace it by bracket here, and here if close solid 1 that can wall equals true, close val equals 0, like that. And here the same. Because at first it said if there is solid on the right of us, yes, but the can wall equals false, so then it goes to next, which says close solid 2 greater than 0, but it doesn't know what close solid 2 is, so it can't check can wall either. Well, it's hard to explain, but just take from me that this will work. So this code. And now we should be able to use them as floors properly. Yep. I accidentally fell off. Isn't that great? Yeah, so this works fine. So in real Sonic games, Sonic has an angle when he is on a slope. And right here, it doesn't yet, so we should do that. Well, we might as well just add it to collide slopes here. Now here, if place meeting x, y plus 1 object r slope, image angle equals minus 45. So then it will, so when there's an r slope, so this one, Beneath us, our angle will be minus 45. Else if place meeting x, y plus 1 object. Else slope, image angle equals 45. Else if place meeting. Yeah, this is just a lot of the same. R slope long. Image angle equals, you would say 22.5. However, we will round it, so 23. Else if place, I mean minus 23 here. Else if place meeting x, y plus 1 object. Else slope long. Image angle equals 23. Else image angle equals 0. Now this will only apply when in certain conditions, so only with a few sprites. If sprite index, no, sorry, if not when rolling, so if rolling equals false and ground equals true, because only when it's on the ground we want an angle, and else image angle 0. Well, instead of image angle, let's call it image angle draw angle to avoid collision problems. And then here, create event draw angle equals 0. And as for draw event, we don't want draw self anymore. We want draw sprite x, because we don't want it to draw image angle anymore, but we want it to draw angle. So sprite index image index. Let's see, does it round x? Yep. Alright, round x, round y, image x scale, image y scale, draw angle, so not image angle but draw angle, image blend, and image alpha. And now it should have, oh, I did it opposite. Yeah. Here, this 45 is minus 45, 23 minus 23. Alright, not a big deal. Yep. That. You. Alright. So, that's it. Slopes are done. And I think they work pretty well. Yeah, it's kind of smooth. Alright. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you have any suggestions or come across any bugs, or you just generally want to say something, I don't know, just leave a comment. And be sure to like it if you enjoyed it. And see you next time.